Do you guys hear that?
Is that boss music?
Go naked and just go with the sword, and that's it.
What do I do with all this?
It says it in the title.
I'm a slut for roguelites.
Well, hello, and welcome back to the Unearthing Games Podcast. I'm your lead excavator, Nick, and today I'm joined by Erica.
Hi.
And we dig games. So, what you been up to this week, Erica? What all's been going down?
Yeah, I finally finished crocheting this sweater I'm wearing today. If you're looking at the video, you can see that that I'm wearing a sweater today, and it's actually kind of hot. But yeah, so
but that's kind of odd though, because like it's a crochet sweater, right? So it's got like pretty big holes in it.
Yeah, and I mean the pattern itself has spaces, so it has holes, but I don't know, now that we're sitting here, it's like, oh god, I'm hot.
I get you. It's the whole like, oh no, I'm on camera, there's lights,
Yeah.
I get you. It makes sense. But this was the guy, like, he was kind of a work in progress for a while, right? Like, you started him and, like, set him down somewhere, and he collected dust, and then you picked him back up.
Yeah.
There's another one, I know we were tidying up today, and you...
Yeah, that one's been on there for a while.
So, maybe he'll be next. No, you've already got other projects.
I have the baby blanket next. I'm excited. You got me some new crochet hooks. I'm excited to use those. But yeah, I finally finished this. Yeah, I think it was sort of a post-busy season project. I wanted to get something done because, I mean, you know this about me. When I finish a project and then I don't have anything else to work on, I feel restless and like
you
without
get this
purpose.
you get this sort of like the stages of grief kind of thing. Like it's like, you know, the project's done, it's laid to rest sort of deal, and you start to like go into mourning.
Yeah, it's a weird like I have like this anxiety / like I'll never do anything good again. Like when I finish the pegboard in my craft room.
Well, that one was special though, because that's like. What is it in Charlotte's Web? That's your magnum opus, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not the greatest thing you'll ever make, but like, I'm sure in your mind it's the greatest thing you've made so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it was a big project, and I remember you spent months like drawing it all out and planning the pattern and the colors, and then you took the paper, like you took it from your mind, put it on paper, you took it from paper and made it a thing on the wall.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I would say that there's got to be some sort of like creation kind of thing where I would say like, you probably do have some similar weird emotions, like someone that just popped out a kid or something, you know? Like, you made that, you know?
Yeah.
I know it's not the same.
No.
but maybe, like, some of the weird, like, emotions are kind of similar, you know? Like, it's not there anymore. It's not in your mind. You made it, and it's gone.
Yeah, so I have issues with that, and I feel like even with work things, like, we'll finish a big project, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm supposed to be doing something. Like, why am I not doing something right now?
That's why whenever y'all finish something big, like busy season, y'all always would do, like, happy hours. Like, hey, guys, let's to celebrate / mourn the end of this thing, let's go get blitzed, you know?
Yeah, it's a good, like, ending, right? It's a good, like, we did it, awesome, let's go celebrate for a little bit. And then it's like, okay, you go and you do different things, and you start the next year and whatever. But, like, we didn't get that this year because of COVID.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, so this was my post-busy season project so that I felt like I had something to work on when it wasn't as busy. And I finally finished it a few months later. But
yeah, it's really good. You finished it like literally today.
Yeah.
Like a couple hours before we decided to record.
Yeah.
You were stitching on your pocket because
yes,
it's got to have pockets.
It has pockets. Yeah, it's
got to have pockets.
But yeah, so I'm very excited about that. I'm excited to start working on the baby blanket. I got the yarn. I'm a bit iffy on the colors that I got.
Yeah, it's kind of, I get you. You were trying to go with a color palette that included hot pink, but like wasn't all hot pink. And I feel like making a color palette based off of hot pink is tough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the colors you picked do go well together.
I think they look okay. My sister's going to be coming tomorrow to visit.
You're going to ask her opinion?
So I'm going to ask her opinion. Like, what do you think? Does this look weird? Because it looks weird to me. Like, the first 3 colors look great together. It's like a ivory type of color.
And it fades into like a light red pink.
Yeah, like it's a dusty pink. And then it's like a like old rose kind of color. And so those 3 look really good. And then there's a hot pink and like a another, like, it kind of looks like pinkish purple. Like, on the website, it looked better than it does in person.
That happens a lot, whether you're buying things online or, well, it's just buying things online. It's like, or ordering something at the fast food checkout, like, it looks great in the picture, and you get it, and you're like, this is not the burger I ordered.
Yeah.
Like that. But, so, enough about knittery. And crochet.
And crochet, yeah.
What else have you been up to?
I have been playing... So I know last time I talked about wanting to go back to Prison Architect, so I did that. I opened up my Supermax prison where the entire map is a whole prison, and there's like 300 and something inmates, and it just worked. And I opened it for a little bit, and it still seemed like it would work.
Yeah, you sat and watched it for a few minutes, and you were just pleased as punch that you didn't really have to do anything.
Yeah. Because
it's been so long since you've played. You're just like, I'll just watch it for a bit. And you were all like, look at the little worker ants moving. Look at them go.
Yeah. It is like a little ant colony. And then it's like, oh, everyone's walking to the cafeteria. It's time for lunch, like you see the movements, and it looks really cool. So I opened that up. I didn't really play any of it, though.
You didn't, no. Yeah. But I remember you called me over. You were like, come look. This is the prison that my laptop couldn't run.
Yeah. My poor laptop. It tried.
Ripperoni impasta.
Yes. And then recently I went back to Shapes.io.
And that had a big update, didn't it? Like, I remember seeing something on Steam where they were like, now with achievements, Yeah,
it has achievements. And we looked through some of them today, and it was just like, you have to purposefully go in to the game trying to get the achievement.
Well, but some achievements, that's how it is,
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about it, like a lot of there's two that specifically come to mind where it's like, do X, Y, and Z within 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And like, you have to start a new game with, here's what I'm gonna do in mind.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have a plan. Like, you have to have mastered the game. But that's how some achievements are,
Yeah.
Achievement hunting is sometimes meticulous planning and then just trying again and again and again to do it.
Well, but I feel like a lot of them too, at least when I was reading through them, it's like you have to start like 10 different games in order to get them all.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me too, where it's like, you can't modify any of your structures after you built it, so you can't delete, things or whatever. And it's just like, so you have to literally go into the game knowing that you're not going to delete anything ever.
So you just have to leave all like, I mean, I actually watched you play Shapes this time when you were playing it. Banging soundtrack.
Yeah.
Gotta say. Amazing. But that's not the point. Yeah, I actually sat and watched you this time. Because, like, I remember last time you played it, when you played it for the podcast, I think I was across from you playing, like, RimWorld or playing Bannerlord, right? Yeah. Was it Bannerlord?
No. It was something that had a good soundtrack, too.
No, it didn't, though. I remember because I told you to turn your music up, and I turned mine down so that I could hear your game's awesome soundtrack while it's got to be RimWorld or Bannerlord, because they both have awesome gameplay, but the actual gameplay itself can be a bit meticulous and kind of a slog.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so, I mean, like Bannerlord, how often do I have to hear men going like, no, and slash, how, I mean, you could only hear my guy on horseback go, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, shwink, so many times before it gets kind of old.
Yeah, you might have been playing something like that. But yeah, the soundtrack is great.
Yeah, because I feel like when we started this, I was still obsessed with Bannerlord, and I need to go back to Bannerlord. Because that was one of the ones
with it for a while.
Because it was like super early access, and I remember I had a great time, and I remember that my wife kept popping out babies, even though she was leading her own army and stuff like that. And I was like, huh. But so I had like 8 heirs, and I think that they fixed that, and I think they patched it out because people popping out. I guess people did used to pop out a lot of kids because infant mortality was a big deal.
Yeah.
But to me, it seemed odd to have like 15 children,
Especially when you guys were never together.
We're never together. And then, like, I think the aging mechanic was a bit beat up. Like, it didn't work. Because it's supposed to, the way it was supposed to work was that, like, you go from, like, it's like rags to riches. You go from some loser commoner with nothing and you become king.
Yeah.
Or you eventually become king.
I think the first time you played it, weren't you too old to date anyone when you first realized, like, I should be dating someone. I need a wife. Weren't you too old at that point?
No, I hadn't done anything to foster relationships, because you have to go out and like become friends with like because like all of the women that you can marry, from what I understand, like, or like most of them they're like warrior women, you know?
Yeah.
Like the woman that I married, she was from like the
Dark
like
blue?
it was kind of like the Mongolian sort of people. They're called like the Karagats or something like that, and they're all like horseback archers and stuff like that, you know?
Oh, yes.
So they were very like Mongolian, like Oriental, like horseback warriors kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's who I married, was like basically like this Oriental woman who's like a warrior, and so she led her own army and stuff. She didn't. She's like, you have fun conquering that castle, sweetheart. I'm gonna go pillage the countryside. Bye. That was.
See you later.
that was their typical day. Like, I'm off to conquer a kingdom, sweetie. See you in the afternoon. That was their thing. But but I think there are also like non-warrior women that you can have in your thing. But like everybody has like a purpose. Like you could assign your spouse as like a governor of a city and stuff like that. But I'm getting off topic. I was trying to say that there is supposed to be, and I think I remember reading a patch that they did it, where your children are supposed to get older. They're supposed to grow up, and like my son can eventually grow up and become a warrior of his own and lead his own army.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the game was supposed to have this cool mechanic where like I would eventually get old and die.
Yeah,
like,
and then
like
you're
my guy
supposed to take on one of your sons.
Yeah, you take over your eldest son.
Okay.
But
yeah, I remember.
But from when I was, like I said, but my wife just kept having kids, and my kids were not.
They never grew up.
They were all just babies. And I was like, all right, cool, I
Babies
guess.
aren't very helpful anymore.
babies are not helpful in medieval times, you know? So, yeah. I was really great at the whole tactics, and like after a while I figured out like the politics of the thing, where it's like some guy rolls up and he's got like 5 times the army that I do, and I'm like, hey bro, how much money to make you walk away?
Oh yeah. I remember you doing that a lot too.
You remember, like I started out and I took that one castle, and like I started my own kingdom, so like I pissed off a kingdom by taking a random castle from them.
Yeah.
And they sent the horde to take the castle back, and I'm in my castle with like 100 men, like 100 archers. We're like, yeah, we took this place. We bad. We bad. Because if you know how to play it, you can at least you could game the computer. Maybe they're smarter now.
Yeah.
And so like we beat them, like my 100 men rolled up and we took a castle. I think we also came in when it had a low garrison, like they were off at war with someone else.
Yes, I think that's what
and so they rolled up like my 100 men, and there's like 5,000 men at the gate.
Yeah.
And it's it does the cheesy thing where I'm up on the wall and they're down there, and it's like we're talking to each other.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Those little
like what do you want? What do you want? And they're like, it's like you've dishonored our kingdom, and I'm like, sorry. How about like 10,000 gold? Will you go away? They're like, we can have peace. Bye.
Weren't there sometimes too that you could like negotiate for like 1 gold? Like there were some times where it was just like they took like nothing.
Yes. Like I don't understand it. Like still don't understand like how the political system in that game worked. But a lot of times it was like if they had been through too much, they would be like, "Fine, we'll take whatever terms you have to offer."
Yeah.
And a lot of times it would be my army was very well trained and equipped, which cost a lot of money. Yeah. So I was making a lot of money, and I was kicking their butts. And then like another big army would roll in and be like, "Let's make peace. I'm tired of warring. I took the city I wanted. Let's stop."
Yeah.
And they'd be like, "We'll take $1." Yeah. And I was like, "Peace."
I remember you doing that a few times where it's like, "Oh, I'll give you 2 saddles and whatever." Yeah. And they're like, "Yeah, sure. It's great."
No, my favorite thing was to basically like roll up on a city that I wanted to take, and like the Lord was there manning the army for his own group, And I'd be like, "Bro, come to my side. Join my kingdom." So I wouldn't even have to take the city. He would join.
Oh,
and it had like a little mini game where like based on your stats, like it's like, oh, do you have leadership? Do you have I can't think of anything right now, like heroism or whatever. Like different lords would respond differently to like if you had like negative traits versus positive traits, and all of them had like a chance of success.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so it was just a goofy little mini game where it's like, all right, I have to get 4 successes in this conversation for him to agree with me.
Yeah.
Let's try. And then if I win the mini game, joins my he joins my kingdom.
You also did the thing where you would save right before the conversation, and then you would fail it and be like, "Oh, well, let's just reload that. Let's try it again."
Well, especially when it was like they have 10,000 men. I have 2,000 men. I need to negotiate my way out of this, or we gonna die.
Yeah.
And so it was, death or reload. So I save scummed, okay?
Yes, you did.
But yeah, that was back when you were playing Shapes.
Mm-hmm.
We got totally off topic.
We got so off topic.
But you were super excited to be back at Shapes. Like, does the game itself seem different, or is it more just the game that you fell in love with back when we started the podcast?
Yeah, no, it's still the same game. Nothing has changed in it. The mechanics and stuff, they're all the same. I again haven't gotten that far in it as of recording this. So I haven't unlocked any like new crazy abilities or anything like that I hadn't already seen before. But yeah, so it's just a fun, relaxing little thing to.
It's really chill,
and it's one of those games where it's like just one more thing. I'm just gonna build up. I'm gonna build the production for this shape, and then we'll go. And then it's like, oh, okay, I need something else. I'll just do that, and then
one more move.
Yeah,
that's always our thing. One more move.
Yeah.
One more move.
And I mean, RimWorld is the most notorious for that. It's like, oh, okay, I just need to build a new cooler. Starts building, a raid happens. Okay, fight the raid. Okay, what was I doing? Oh, I need to do this other thing. I'm gonna, and it's just like
I didn't make a
forever.
cooler. No.
Yeah.
Like I said, watching you play that, like I said, it really makes me want to get us to play together. Satisfactory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you're skeptical on if you like it or not.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I feel
skeptical
like
on
the whole like making conveyor, but like making the harvesting, then the conveying, and the refining and the creation, like making that in a super efficient manner.
Yeah. You
would I feel like you'd love that.
I feel like I would, but I also like Shapes because it's a grid. Everything snaps to a grid. And in the little that I've seen of Satisfactory, nothing snaps. Because you're in a first-person world where you're building this, so it would be hard to see the area and what you're trying to do.
You'd have to go on like I think eventually you can make yourself like a little perch to go sit up on, so you can kind of look at everything the light touches kind of thing. You can go look at that and make your stuff.
Yeah,
but you're right. I mean, it'd be different, but I think it would be a different experience for both of us. Like, I really wanted to try to play Factorio, but I can't play the color palette.
The color palette of that.
The color palette,
so
it gives me a literal headache. Like, I look at it, like I'm
sure there's mods that change that.
We can look into it and see if there are mods that fix the color palette so that I'm not going blind trying to play it.
Yeah.
Then I would be down to play it, because I always thought Factorio looked cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I know it's not exactly my cup of tea, but I think playing it with both of us, I think I'd have a lot of fun, because like sitting and playing Shapes with you, like I was like, why'd you do that? Why don't you make a tunnel? Why don't you make a tunnel?
You would make me lose my train of thought.
Why don't you
so
make a tunnel?
Many times.
Well, because you're like doing something, and I'm like, surely that's not the best way to do it. Like, why don't you go under it with a tunnel? And you're like, what's with you in tunnels? And I'm like, tunnels.
Yeah, you wanted me to build tunnels for everything.
And most of the time, I know not all the time, most of the time when you did, it worked out pretty well. I like to think I do okay when it comes to efficiency, but just okay. I'm not very efficient at games.
I'm not very efficient either. My Shapes, it's definitely one where I have to go, like, I build stuff, and it's like, no, delete all that, let's start over. I don't want the circles there anymore, I want them over here. And so, like, I always redo it all the time.
I get you. Okay.
What else have you been up to?
Yeah, we went way off topic, but honestly, I haven't really been up to a whole lot. I've been scouting out more games. I know there was like an Amazon board game sale.
Yes.
So I was scouting out some different stuff. I may have ordered a few things. I'm excited about those. By a few, I mean like, but still.
A few.
I mean, I also sent a couple links your way, I think. No, we talked about a few games.
Yeah,
like you were looking at like an escape room one.
Yeah.
And so there's that. I'm still playing Haven, from last time, really enjoying that.
You haven't been playing it as much.
I know.
I really want you to.
Well, we also have been very busy. I was having time scraping together time to play my game for the podcast.
Yeah.
And like, if I barely have time to do that, how am I going to have time to play Haven?
Yeah.
So it goes back to it's just been a busy week.
It has.
We rearranged the office. Lots of things changed. So I am still playing Haven.
Mm-hmm.
Played the game I'm going to talk about today, and I think that's pretty much it, really. Like, haven't done a whole lot.
Yeah.
I washed some dishes. Does that count? I don't know. But But yeah, so we've been massively off topic.
Yeah, for a long time now.
Why don't you tell us about the game that you played this week?
Yes, I'm really happy about this game. So this is one that I actually bought a long time ago, and this was my first ever Kickstarter project.
I remember you telling me about it.
And I had seen it through the Ogscast. Like that's not a surprise.
I feel like for our video game-ness, like a good 70 to 80% is because of the Ogscast.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like I remember I bought so many games because I saw An Evening with Sips.
Yes.
And I was like, that looks fun.
Yeah.
I could play that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Okay. You found it through the Ogscast.
Yes.
It was a Kickstarter.
Yes, this is the Kickstarter. This is Cosmochoria, and this is by Nate Schmold, and this is published by 3030. And the tags are action, indie, adventure, strategy, and space.
And one thing that we noticed was that it's rogue light.
Yes.
Yes, rogue light.
Yeah, and I, after all the roguelike light discussions with you and seeing all these different games, like neither of us really realized that this was a roguelite.
Yeah.
But because we've played it before,
yeah.
we just haven't gone really in depth.
Yeah, I remember when you showed it to me, I was like, this is adorable. I want to play this. And I played a whole bunch of it 5 years ago?
It's been a long
time. But
yeah, it came out in 2015.
All right. So it was so longer than 5 years. But so tell us about Cosmochoria.
Yeah, so Cosmochoria. So the description is a tiny naked cosmonaut with a jetpack and laser blaster must revive a dying galaxy by planting one seed at a time. And so that's the gameplay. So you're this little naked guy with like a glass fishbowl on your head.
Yeah.
that way you can breathe in space.
It's literally like some sort of cartoon character in space where he's literally just got a bowl on his head.
Yeah.
And that's it. No spacesuit, nothing.
Yeah, and so you start out and you're on a planet and you plant a seed. And you plant that seed and you nurture it for a little bit, and then it's like, okay, it's growing. And so you're just sitting there and all these stupid aliens come and attack you while you're sitting there. You have a little a blaster gun type of thing.
I think the game calls it a pea shooter.
Yeah, and so you've got a little gun and you're just sitting there protecting your little plant and yourself from all the stupid aliens that come at you. And yeah, so every time you plant the plant and it fully grows, it gives you more seeds, and then it also it gives the planet life.
Yeah, it's like slowly reviving the planet, basically.
Yeah, that I mean, and different planets. There's you're in a little map and you can see the map on your screen while you're playing, but there's a whole bunch of different planets, different sizes. The larger the planet, the more seeds it takes to revive the planet.
Yeah.
Once you've filled up the planet's heart, because that's how you see the revival of the planet.
It's got a little heart meter in it that fills up.
It's got a little heart meter, like the very the first animated How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yes.
Where his heart grows, and like when it's shrunk, you can see that the heart is smaller inside the empty space. Like that's what the planet looks like.
Yes. Yes, it has like a void in there.
Yeah, and so slowly the heart grows and fills the space. And once the planet is fully revived, it becomes all cute and pretty. There's atmosphere and clouds all of a sudden, and there's like grass all over it and stuff. And then the heart, if it's full, it'll heal you. So if you took damage protecting the little plants while you were while you're trying to revive the planet will give you health back. Yeah,
it slowly drains the heart, but you can fill it back up by just planting more seeds.
Yeah.
So
it's great. So that's the way you heal in the game, I guess. And yeah, so you're just starting. You just go around and you jetpack to all these different little planets to revive the solar system.
Well, because isn't it like every time you revive a planet, it like rewards you? You get like a chest.
Yeah, you get a chest and you get random things. The first thing you always find is a magic 8-ball.
Yeah,
and it tells you that the compass on the map is actually pointing somewhere, and you should probably go there.
Yeah,
and you go, and it's like this old man that is like has been left there by like the old ancient beings, and he is his whole purpose is to explain the universe, but he doesn't really remember anything.
Because he was a baby.
Yeah.
And it's been so long.
Yeah, it's been forever. So you bring in the magic 8-ball, and then he's like, "Oh, bring me other things." And so you're going around reviving planets, killing aliens, collecting artifacts.
Yeah, and every time you bring one back to him, it like unlocks it for you to like. It's like they're all modifiers you can turn on in like the title screen, right? And he even like makes that joke. He's like, "You would activate this in something the ancients called the title screen."
Yeah.
You know? Like, even, like, it gets a little meta.
Yeah, it's really cute, though. And then there's also other people you can find. Like, I played for a bit, and then the game hates me because it kept sending the bosses after me very quickly. Then Nick played, and he's going around doing the same exact things that I was, and the second boss never came to attack him.
He did eventually come. It just took him...
It took a long
like,
time.
5 times the amount of time it took him to come after Erica.
Yeah, it was... I don't know
but
what what that is, but yeah.
It's called RNG. I bet you there's some little dice roll that goes on that's like, all right, they got X time, you know, to before... I think it's like the first 2 bosses that's all we've seen so far that I remember.
Yeah.
Were both, like, dragons in space.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, so you're just going through and you're trying to revive the
galaxy.
Galaxy, yeah.
You just got it because like you always like you can plant a flag on it, and whenever you plant a flag, it marks the planet on your mini map.
Yes.
And like if you've revived the planet, it's green.
Yes.
And if you haven't, it's red.
Right.
So you just have a little jetpack and you just go flying off into nothingness.
Yeah.
Turns out you can fly off the map and die. I found that out the hard way.
Yeah, you thought you had misremembered that you could fly off the screen in one direction and come out the other side. Very Pac-Man-y.
Yeah, I misremembered that.
And it didn't work. You just died.
That didn't work. But
yeah, like the second boss never came after you. You literally flew to your death.
You know, we don't have to get into that. We don't have to get into that. No, but you know, there's a lot of like other than the old bearded man, there's a lot of other like random NPCs you can find, and they all want you to find something. It's a game of never-ending fetch quests. You know?
Yeah, it's all
Like, I found a guy who wanted me to bring him 100 seeds, and he gave me a gun upgrade.
Yes, but then that was unlocked for further
runs. And then it was a permanent upgrade. Yes. So now, instead of shooting 1 pea out of my gun, it shoots 2. Yes. So pew, 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 you know? So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was when we realized, wait a second, this is a roguelite. Because it unlocks stuff for you to continue playing the game and be better in later runs.
Yeah, because, like, you get little currency every time you kill a bad guy, and then you could redeem that currency before you start a new run.
Yes.
And it would like, okay, do you want to increase your max health? Do you want to increase how fast you walk on planets? Do you want to increase your jetpack fuel?
Yeah.
Maybe you want more building materials because you can build little, it calls them pew-pew towers. They're like these little gun turrets to protect you. So you can build little gun turrets and little like shield domes that will protect you from the alien laser beams and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, granted, like I said, we've got past the second boss and that's it.
Yes.
So,
and then also with the bosses, when you beat the boss, they drop a crystal.
Yeah, like a time stone. Or something.
And you take that back to the old man, and he's like, "Oh, you can unlock this in the title screen." And it's one of the things where if you go into and you start a new game, it'll take you to this menu where it's like, "What bonuses do you want to unlock? What things do you want to start with?" And so you can say, "I want to start after the second boss," and then you'll start after the boss.
Yeah. It's actually a lot of fun, like way more than I remembered.
Yeah.
It is a little bit hard to the directions.
Yeah.
Because all the planets are like just they're little balls, like
they're little circles.
It's 2-dimensional. So
yeah, it's 2-dimensional, and when you're walking around the planet, so it's a circle in the middle of a black screen, and as you're walking around, the map will suddenly rotate to reorient yourself so that you're facing up. And so it's like, okay, well, I need to go that direction, so I'm gonna like go this way, and then the map will turn, and it's like, okay, what direction am I facing again?
Yeah.
Like, which way do I need to go?
It's really, really easy to become disoriented where you don't know which way is, in quotes, up.
Yeah. Because
the map is it's a box, it's a square, a big square. So you have to make sure you're going the right direction so you don't fly off into the void at the edge of the map and die.
Yeah.
But it is really cool.
It's a lot of fun. That's the only thing that it's a little hard to get used to at first, is when you're walking around the little planet you would think like, oh, I'm just gonna go upside down. No, like the map will flip at a certain point.
Yeah, it changes to orient for you.
That and then shooting enemies that have landed on the planet. Because
the curvature of the Earth is your enemy. It's your enemy.
Like, especially when the planets are so small, like it's literally right in front of you, but you can't shoot at it because the curve of the Earth is too much, and so the little guy just like stands there, and you have to like literally run up to the guy, take damage in order, to kill him. And
it gets pretty nuts.
Yeah, I guess you could jump up a little bit.
Yeah, because you can jump. Because you can jump and jetpack a little bit without leaving the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Or without leaving the gravity. Yes. That's what it is. It's the gravity well.
The gravitational.
Because bigger planets have bigger gravity wells.
Yeah, they do.
So
it's really cool, and I like that too, where you can be jetpacking off in the middle of nothingness, and then you see the gravity well, and you're like, "Oh, go that way," and then you get sucked into the planet, which I think is really cool.
So it's a lot of fun. I definitely want to go back because it doesn't seem like it seems like since it's like hardcore roguelite where like you pick those little time stones and it skips those bosses.
Yeah.
And so you could keep working on making your way forward in the game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Especially since if you find a planet where someone sells a better gun or something, that's permanent. So like I'll always have the 2-shot pistol in it.
Yeah. Which
is cool. So I kind of want to go back and beat it.
I think you definitely could.
I mean, we will over time. That'll be something we'll be like, so like, what have you been up to this week, Nick? I beat Cosmochoria. Oh my god. Like that'll happen.
That'll be great.
Yeah. It'll be good. Yeah, so that was Cosmochoria by Nate Schmold.
Yes.
And 3030.
Yes. So what game did you play this week?
This week, I played a game called Bastion. This is another oldie but goodie. He's a fairly old game that I remember I played a long time ago on my Xbox 360.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, this is by Supergiant Games. They are, in my opinion, a powerhouse when it comes to making fantastic games.
Okay.
They've made a lot. Like one of the ones Jacob talked about, Hades, is by them.
Okay.
This was one of their first babies. Is Bastion. So this game was released in 2011. If you're wondering the age, so I'm literally digging up an artifact. And it's really cool. Its tags are great soundtrack because by golly, it has a great soundtrack.
Really great soundtrack.
Indie, action, narration, which is
amazing.
Oh, we'll get into that. And RPG, because that's the basic thing of this. This is an action RPG.
Yeah.
Basically, it is a isometric, so you're looking down at the character, and you control the character. You have X for one weapon, B for another weapon, and A for dodge roll. So got that quasi Dark Soulsy, roll this way, roll that way, and you don't have to do any fat kid rolls like Dark Souls. But it's really cool. Like it is the base premise. I honestly, it's been so long since I've played it. I don't remember the entire story, which kind of upsets me, and so now I want to finish it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I'm a good 2 or 3 levels away from the end.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm close. But it is a like post-apocalyptic world. Something called the Calamity happened, and it like destroyed the world in such a way that like everything is like floating blocks now. Like everything's different, and you play this kid who you worked on like the construction crew building some great wall. Like I think the guy called it like the rippling wall or something like that.
Okay.
And when the calamity happened, it destroyed everything except like your little house up near the construction site. And so you wake up and you're literally on like a floating platform, and then the narrator speaks.
Oh, the
and
narrator.
It is this voice just butter. You're like, oh my god, please talk to me more.
It's very, very Western.
Yes, he has that whole like Western,
like old cowboy type of
kind of like husky, raspy sort of deal going on. But the fantastic thing about the narration in this game is the narrator literally narrates everything you do.
But not in an annoying way.
Yeah, not in an annoying way. It's like sometimes you have to like go out of your way to try to prompt him. Like he narrates the story because like the kid is kind of like Link from Zelda, where he never talks. The kid does not speak.
Yeah.
All you hear is huh, like if he rolls,
very, very,
very Link. But like it starts out and like the narrator's talking about never thought you'd wake up on a floating island and all that, and as you're walking around, like as you're walking down the path, like you get out of bed, and when you walk to your door, little tiles start floating up out of nowhere
Mhm.
to make a path for you.
Yeah.
And like the path just opens up towards you. And so there's kind of a weird little mechanic in the game where you kind of want to walk to the edge of everything
To see if something will pop up.
if something will pop up, because there's lots of hidden little secrets. Like, oh, look, there's a little thin path that goes this way. If I walk that way, okay.
Yeah.
And you find like an upgrade material or something.
Mm.
And so like you go and like every time something's happening, the narrator will talk about, it gets you like history, and he gives you the story of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
All of it is done through the lens of the narrator. Like you control the kid is what the narrator always
Yeah, he
calls
always
him.
calls you
The kid. And basically after you wake up, the calamity's happened, you find a weapon which is a hammer. That's like the token weapon for the game, probably my favorite one to use.
Yeah.
And then the kid remembers that there was a safe place to go in times of trouble, a place called the Bastion.
Yeah.
And so that's you go on like a short little, you finish the first level, and then you're there, and you find the narrator.
Yeah.
And he is an old man who also went to the Bastion, and it turns out that you and him are the only two survivors.
Yeah.
And as you're he says that the Bastion got broken in the calamity, and that we've got to find parts to fix it. And so you go on missions out into different little environments to find basically power cores.
Yeah.
That you plug into the Bastion, and every time you plug them in, you open up like a new, basically a shop. Like one shop is called the distillery, and there's like spirits you can activate that are passive buffs.
Uh-huh.
All of them are passive buffs, or they might be like kind of pros and cons, like you get like a positive and a negative that come with it.
Yeah.
And so that's the distillery, and then there's the armory, where as you find different weapons, because you start off with just two, you have a bow and arrow and a hammer.
The hammer. Yeah.
And you can find more as you go. Like I found a blunderbuss at one point, and I found like a marksman's rifle and a spear. I think he called it a pike. I mean, a pike and a spear. I mean, they're pretty close. A pike, a spear. You find a machete. Like, there's a bunch of different weapons. So, but you can only carry two at a time. You have one for one button, one for the other button, and so that's your combat. So you have to pick what loadout you want to go into.
Okay.
And the narrator has a different blurb of text for every combo
that you make.
Every combo that you make. And he's like, and he even starts commenting, like, if you start taking the same combo on every mission, he's like, kid sticks with what's tried and true, And it's wonderful. And I remember I didn't realize that the narrator was always commenting on what I was doing.
Yeah.
Until at one point I realized you could break things in the environment, like boxes and walls and rocks, and they would give you currency.
Yeah.
Because you have to redeem the currency at certain places at the Bastion. Like, there's places that'll upgrade your weapons so they do more damage and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have currency to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's game fashion, that's the thing. And I'm just sitting there breaking boxes, and the old man goes, kid just wanted to rage a while, break some stuff. And I was like, is he watching me? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I thought that was adorable.
It was great. And like, I mean, he comments on everything that happens. Like if you accidentally walk off the edge of the map, because you can do that, he'll make some comment about, kid slipped and fell. And he just comments on everything going on. Like there was one spot where like I was on like a little on rails thing where like the map, the camera kept moving forward, and I had to move forward with it, but there was a bunch of bad guys.
Yeah. And
so I was like using my bow to like clear them out. And when I got to the end, he was like, kid didn't let a single one of them get away. Because I killed all the bad guys. I was like, oh my god, he called me out. And it felt,
I did a good job.
I did so good. But it's really neat. And as you're going, like I said, I'm having trouble remembering, but it just seems like there's a lot more going on.
Yeah.
And it's cool because like on top of all the different levels you go to, because it keeps progressing through different missions, kind of linear story style.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also, as you unlock new equipment, there are different proving grounds that you can go to, is what it calls them, where they're like little challenge maps for each weapon.
Okay.
Where it's kind of like, can you use this weapon to its maximum potential in X amount of time?
Yeah.
And they always have different like upgrade materials and stuff that are there, like in little cages. And so you activate the trial and you try to do it, and then I can be like, all right, congratulations, you unlocked cage 1, here's an upgrade for your hammer, or upgrade material for your hammer. Next reward if you can do this in so much time.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
So every weapon has got that. And I just really like that, like, as I'm going, it really just seems like a bigger story is unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's like you're exploring this world, trying to power up the Bastion, trying to figure out who this old man is, like what's going on with him.
Yeah, why does he know everything I'm doing?
Yeah, why does he know everything?
Ooh, what if he's you? Is he you?
I don't know. Like, what if he's a time traveler?
Yeah.
Like the Calamity or whatever. Like, I don't remember. But like, what if the Calamity like did some weird thing where like he is future you? You know?
Yeah.
So he knows everything.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because how else would he know everything you've been through?
Yeah, unless he's following you, which he isn't, because he stays back at the
or
home
maybe
base.
the Bastion's magic and he's like watching.
That could be too, yeah.
Because it's a, like I said, I don't really know what you want to call it, kind of high fantasy sort of deal. Like magic's not really a thing. It seems kind of like it's just this different world. Like you were part of this nation called Solandia, and Solandia was at war with another country called Ura, which is like their neighbor at some point.
Okay.
And I know at one point you do meet someone from Ura, and it's kind of like, oh, that was really odd to see an Ura in here, so far away from the Tazil terminals or whatever,
Yeah.
And it's so like it's kind of that weird thing where it's like, okay, and just more and more stuff starts to unfold as you're going. And honestly, I just keep looking forward to hearing what the hell the narrator's going to say next. Like, what's he going to talk about?
Yeah.
And like, it's just kind of cool. Like, it's a really neat way to tell a story. It is true to Supergiant Games' form, beautifully rendered game.
Yeah,
it is
really
a piece
pretty.
of art.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is gorgeous. The artwork looks amazing. The environments are amazing.
It's got a great soundtrack.
Soundtrack is amazing. The narration is on
The
point.
narration is
Literally
what makes the game.
Yeah, the narration is what sells it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of thing, like, you come for the artwork, stay for the narration.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It's a fantastic game. If you have ever played anything by Supergiant Games, look this guy up. Say, it's wonderful. I mean, like I said, it's a bit of an older game, but honestly, having played it now, like,
it still holds up.
Like 10 years later, because I bought this game when it came out.
Yeah.
Like, playing it 10 years later, it holds up.
Yeah.
Like, this game aged very well.
It looks like it did.
It's great. I love it. It's fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. So, Bastion, developed and published by Supergiant Games. Go check it out. You will not be disappointed. It's if for nothing else, the narrator.
Yeah.
He'll tell you a fantastic story. Okay, so those were our two games for the week. So I played Bastion. Erica played Cosmochoria. My gosh, we literally just talked about
it.
Yeah, you played Cosmochoria. I played some Cosmochoria.
Yeah, you did.
It was a ton of fun. Like, oh man, I'm really liking this new. I kind of want to experience the games with you now. A lot of times, I feel like I'm a lot more invested if I go over we played the search together, and I think I had a lot more to say about it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, especially to talk through it, it makes sense to sit and watch at least.
Yeah. Like there was no way you couldn't hear the narrator. The volume turned up so loud,
I
You could have been downstairs and been like, "Ooh, Nick's playing Bastion."
Yeah.
So those were our games. Now it's time for our board game. So this week, for our board game, we broke out Brass Birmingham. This is a remake of or kind of a reimagination of Brass Lancashire.
Okay.
I believe. I think what it is the developers of Brass Lancashire they liked the idea but thought they could make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And so they redid it basically and made Brass Birmingham.
Okay.
Is what I understand. I don't really know the full history of it.
Yeah.
That bit of history I got from a YouTube video that I watched when I was trying to learn how to play the game.
Okay.
So that was a bit of what I learned. So Brass Birmingham is a 2 to 4 player game. It's estimated about 60 minutes to 2 hours to play. So a bit of a longer guy.
Yeah, it is.
It says recommended ages 14 and up. I'm going to say maybe even older, but maybe not. No, I think as long as you can have good reading and comprehension skills, that this game would work.
It's definitely not something like a 4th grader would play.
No, definitely not. So this game was designed by Gavin Brown, Matt Tolman, and Martin Wallace.
Okay.
The art, which I thought was pretty good, was done by Lena Cossette, David Forrest, and Damien Mamoliti? I'm sorry that I butchered your name. I really like the artwork. I do.
Yeah.
And it's published by Roxley, Roxley.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd ever really heard of them before.
No.
I don't think we have any other Roxleys. Like, I kind of want to go and see what else they've done.
Yeah, we definitely do.
But pretty cool game. I feel like my first impressions going into this is definitely that the game is meant for 4 players.
Yes.
to the point that there are portions of the map that you don't access if you have less than 4 players.
Yeah, and it made it feel like in a 2-player game, part of the map was just not ideal.
Yeah.
You didn't want to build on one entire, like the entire northern portion of even just the 2-player map because
it was so
nothing
far
there.
away from everything.
Yeah.
So the entire premise, the premise of this game is that you are in the early industrial revolution era. You pick out like major English entrepreneurs from that era, or I mean, I say English, British entrepreneurs, right? And so like it's pretty cool. The instruction book, like there are 4 different colors you can pick from, and each one of them has like a player token that you can flip, and it has the person on either side. And the book will explain to you who this person is and why they are relevant to the Industrial Revolution.
Which I really liked reading.
No,
I thought that was pretty good.
I thought it was really cool. Like I remember, like you read both of mine, and I was like, I want that lady. Like she made fake rock, and like made it cool. And so I was like, that's pretty awesome. Like I know it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
That's me paraphrasing really high level.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so you play these entrepreneurs, and this is a action economy type game where you are very limited on the choices that you can make.
Yeah.
So every turn you have a hand of 8 cards. Every player does. On your turn, you are allowed to make 2 actions, and every time you make an action, you have to discard 1 card. Yeah. So the card that you discard can impact the action that you're going to take. So since we're all entrepreneurs, we're all trying to, make money, make business. And so you can do things like you can build stuff. So I could choose to build a coal mine, or I could build an ironworks, or I could build a cotton mill, or a pottery. Is it pottery, right? Pottery?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It was like a big kiln.
It looked like a kiln.
The picture was. Pottery. Or you can just make, I think the game called them textiles, right? It was a box, like a shipping crate.
Oh, yes.
I think the game called it textiles. So basically you can make any of these things, and they all have varying costs, and there's a map that's like, it's a huge grid that's all interconnected by canals and rail lines, and each city has a different array of stuff that can be built there.
Yeah.
So since the game is called Birmingham, naturally Birmingham has the most things on it.
I didn't realize that until you just said it.
But did you realize that it's the only city that had 4 boxes?
Yeah,
everything else had 2 to 3.
2 or 3. Yeah.
No,
totally over my head.
So the game on as far as like an overall complexity level, I'm gonna say this is pretty high. Like if you're new to board games, I would not recommend this game because I think that I'm not gonna say that we're veteran board gamers, but we play a lot of board games.
Yeah,
you know?
and I mean we like trying new games, and I mean that comes with understanding the rules and stuff like that. And this one was just
like we've joked that we don't read the rules. We read the rules 3 times. We even watched videos on how to play this game. Yeah. It's a little complex, but I feel like once you get it, like we played the game twice. For the podcast, and the first time when it ended, our only description of the experience was just stress.
Yeah.
But the second time was a lot more enjoyable because I feel like once you know how the mechanics work, which is probably, you could say this for most games. Yeah. Once you get how the mechanics work, it is a lot more fun. You can relax. You can think about what's going to happen instead of thinking about how do I do things.
Yeah.
And so
agreed, yes.
So the main goals are to basically build structures that you can eventually sell at market. Right? It's kind of the base goal. Like the really base goal is to get the most victory points. But you get victory points by building structures and then selling them. So like it's kind of like I would make a textile, like I would make a cotton mill, right?
Yeah.
And instead of keeping the cotton mill so that I could, like in my mind, instead of keeping the cotton mill so I could like use it to make money, I sell it. And then like selling it at market then gives me the like kind of increases my passive income per turn.
Well, so
is that how you viewed it?
No, because you never got anything for building them initially.
That's true.
You had to sell goods from it in order to see anything from it.
So that's what it is. You're not selling the structure itself. You are shipping its goods to market.
Yeah, and that's why you have income. So, like, I think of it as when you first build it, you're building a factory. You're first developing it, and you're working on creating a product.
Yeah. It's kind of like before, you're a business owner and you have like your factory going up.
Mm-hmm.
When your factory is still being built, you are not making any product.
Right.
You are literally losing money every day.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
that's how this feels.
Yeah. And then once you have your product and you ship it, then you have a constant supply line going out.
Yeah.
And so then that's why your income goes up.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
So on top of making these structures in the different cities, another integral mechanic is creating links. Yes. So the game is done in 2 phases. The first phase is the canal era, and the second phase is the rail era. Mm-hmm. You can kind of guess what those are about, where in the canal era, you make shipping canals between cities and, I would say, markets. Like it had like the names of different cities, but like each city had a different market on them, and the markets would change every game because you shuffle the little tiles you flip onto those cities.
Yeah.
And so one city might have the textiles market at it one game, and the next game the textiles market might be somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
But basically the way that it works is if you have made a bunch of textiles or the shipping crates, you need to make sure you link your stuff up to the textiles market.
Yes.
Because like if you link to a different market, you can't sell your textiles.
Nope.
And so that's a big part is about making those connections. And then a lot of times you also make the connections so that you can expand where you make stuff. Because the 2 different type of cards that you have in your hand are either cities or industries. So you could have an ironworks card in your hand, or a textiles card in your hand, or a brewery card in your hand.
See, I only ever saw coal, iron, brewery.
I also saw ceramics once. Maybe there's not maybe there's not very many of them.
Yeah.
But basically, if most of the time you have to play the city card, like so I'd have to play the Birmingham card in order to make something in Birmingham.
Yes.
But if I'm connected to Birmingham, like I have a shipping canal to it, and I don't have the Birmingham card, if I have the textiles card or the ironworks card, I did the ironworks card. That was my very first action in the whole game. I was all proud of myself. If you make the like you play that city, then you can build something there. Or I could play the ironworks, and if Birmingham has an ironworks, if it's on my network, I can then build it to it.
Yeah.
So it's the whole growing your business realm and making sure everything's linked up. But you also kind of want to be careful about how you do your connections and links, because if one of your opponents links to your network, they are then connected to all of your stuff as well.
Yeah.
And
but
so
it's not in their network, which are 2 different things.
Yeah, but it's the kind of thing like if I'm tapped into a market, and let's say I had blocked you out of it.
Yeah.
If you just tapped into my network, you're suddenly connected to that market.
Yeah.
Based on my shipping canals. Yeah. You know? And so there's also a mechanic in the game where most structures need either iron or coal to be built. And so you can either choose to pay extra money to buy coal and iron from the market. Yeah. Or if there is coal or iron out on the board and you're connected to it, you take from that.
Only you don't need to be connected for iron.
Well, we figured that out. Yeah,
later in the game.
We figured that out. But yeah, if that resource is already on the board, you can take it for free.
Yes.
But the con is, if you're taking it away from your opponent wants to get all of that off of their ironworks or their coal mine. Mm-hmm. Because once it's empty, they basically, it's like they sell it. They've shipped their goods to market. Yeah. And now that ironworks is suddenly making a profit. Yeah. And so you want to try to make sure you're pulling your own iron and not their iron. Yes. But the game does require that if there's iron on the board, you have to go with it first. Yeah. You can't be like, no, I don't want to buy your iron, Erica. I'm going to go buy from the market.
Yeah. No, you can't.
You can't do that. If there's iron on the board, you have to take it from the board first. Yeah. And so I thought that was an interesting thing. So there's a bit of dynamic where, on top of just being that we're competitors fighting over like real estate, yeah, we're also having an impact on each other with our resources. You know, I thought that was a neat little extra bit of player interactivity. Yeah. That you don't always see. Like most of the time, it's like we're competing, but it's only because like I'm thinking like Castles of Burgundy, where like there's a market and if I buy this thing, you can't have this thing.
Yeah.
And so it makes me think of like that. Like this is sort of a different sort of deal where it saves me money to just take your coal, but it also helps you. And do I want to help you? Like the first time we played, you won because I helped you. And
at the very end.
I was like, dang it! It's like, stop taking her coal, Nick. And I was like, I just need coal. But it's actually really cool. I think this is definitely the kind of game that you do want to do your research before going into.
Yes.
Like, I'm glad that we did watch, some videos about it and all that, and then we read the rules.
Yeah, even with all of that, the first playthrough was so stressful. And I felt like I didn't know what was going on. I feel like even the second time, we still didn't play it fully correctly because we ended up with weird hand sizes. Yeah. Like we either weren't discarding when we were supposed to, or
the one that tripped me up was there are wild cards. So you're supposed to have 8 cards in your hand every turn. So you spend 2 and then you draw 2 to be back up to 8.
Yeah.
Well, one of the actions is you can discard 2 cards and draw 2 wilds.
Yeah. But I think you're also supposed
to discard another card.
Yeah.
Because every action costs card.
Yeah.
And we weren't doing that, and that kind of messed up the hand sizes and things got a little janky.
Yeah, so then at the end of like the era, it was like, well, I still have 2 whole turns to do and Nick has nothing. So I guess we're gonna just do this, I guess. Yeah. It was really weird.
It was a little bit weird. So there's a bit of pacing you gotta keep up with to keep the turn order going correctly.
Yeah. And it's also easy to forget to discard cards when you're doing stuff like taking a loan or building a link, because you don't have to specifically play a city or an industry to do those things.
Yeah, it's just you just burn a card. It doesn't matter what card. And so I guess those were things we didn't talk about, the different, like the actions you can take on your turn.
Yeah.
So the specific actions you can take. One is to build something. So, build one of those industries I talked about. Mm-hmm. The second one is to do what's called it's called networking. And that's where you build a canal or a rail line, depending upon what area you're in. Mm-hmm. The third one is development. Basically, there are a lot of different levels of industry resources on your player mat.
Yeah.
And there's like level 1 up to like 8 depending upon the one that you're doing. And naturally, the higher level ones are worth more victory points and more income than the lower level guys. So maybe you want to spend an action to just get rid of some of those level 1 or 2 echelon guys so you can be up in the 3s and 4s and 5s of the game.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the actions that you can take is to develop. Yeah, so you can develop. Then you have the whole discard and get wilds.
Yeah.
And then the last one is you can take a loan from the bank.
Yes.
So the meters around the board, there are 2 different ones. There is your victory score, your victory point score. Then there's also your income score. So it's just how much passive income you get every turn. Mm-hmm. Well, early in the game, you have no money, basically. You start out with 17 coins, and everything costs somewhere between 5 and 20 coins. So so you spend you burn through your money fast. Mm-hmm. So you do that. And so I think I took like 4 loans. 4 or 5 loans in the game.
You were like -6, and I was very worried for you.
No, but like it was the kind of thing like it was, I don't know, tactical debtedness. I don't know what you want to call it.
No, it worked out. You won.
Because like I took like a bunch. I took a loan, and then I spent it all like making links and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, flip. Now I need to make stuff. So I took another loan, and every time you take a loan, you move down 3 levels of the income track.
Yes.
And so early on, you start out with 0 income. So if you take it in the beginning, you go negative, all the way to -10. Mm-hmm. And if you can't pay your debts, you start losing victory points.
Yeah.
So they like the Lannisters, pay your debts. So like I did that, and then I made some smart choices, and I built a bunch of things and then sold them all to market.
Yeah.
And that jumped my income like 15 points, I think.
15 space.
15 spaces.
Yeah, there's a difference between spaces and levels.
As you get farther up the income track, like the first levels, I think are 2 pips per income.
Yeah.
But when you get later on, it's then 3 pips, 4 pips, 5 pips.
Yeah.
Like how many pips do you have to move up? So when I say you go down by 3 levels, I don't mean by pips, you go down levels. So like if your income is 10, you go down to 7 when, if you take a loan.
Yeah, and that could be like 8 spaces that you're moving back.
It could be. So it might be hard to get back up there.
Yeah.
which is why I did it early, because early, if you go negative, those are each one space. So -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's true.
So it's. I kind of feel like the game encourages you to do that because, like,
no, it definitely does.
Like, I think about like I know we both went to business school, and I'm like, oh, look at me and my business education. I'm like, you gotta like get a business loan to fund your business, to fund your stuffs.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what it is.
Well, the rule book on the back, it definitely says, don't be scared to take loans, because your income level at the end of the game has no impact on the score.
Yeah.
Your amount of coins you have has no impact on the score. It all is dependent on the industries that you built and the networks you built.
Yeah.
So take all the loans you want as long as you can pay them back without losing victory points, because
as long as you have enough to pay the number, then you're good. And so I did a lot of that. Did a lot of loans. But and you're right, it paid off the second time I won. And I was really pleased with myself.
By 1 point.
It
was so close.
It's great because the way this game works is the first half, when the canal era ends, you tally up your score. You count all the victory points off the things that you've built. Every canal or every link that you've made, whether it be canal or rail, gets victory points based on the structures that are adjacent to it.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of victory points.
You do, yes.
And I was like 20 points ahead at the half.
Yeah.
You know? And then when the canal era ends, you get rid of all of the level 1 structures.
Yes.
Which basically wiped the board for us because we had a lot of level 1 structures out there. And so I was doing real good at the first half.
Yeah, you were totally beating me.
Yeah.
I had no chance.
Yeah, and then second round, I was like, oh my gosh, I swear, if you make a comeback now, like, I was winning. Why can't you let me have this?
Aww.
And no, it wasn't like that. But you know, I was all like, I got this. Like, I'm imagining like I'm like the runner, and I'm almost at the finish line, but I can hear you behind me. I'm like, oh god, no, I have to get there. So it's a lot of fun. It is stress to learn it the first time.
Yes.
I am very excited to teach Philip and Jacob to play this. Because like I said, I feel like this game's true form is 4-player.
Yeah.
Because you get the whole map, and I just feel like the interactivity would be ramped up a lot more.
It would be. The only thing that we're going to have issues with is the analysis paralysis. And in the videos we watched about how to play this, that was the big thing. Like, if your group has issues with this.
But I feel like that the analysis paralysis for this game would hit all of us, though. Because even with just you and me, we had a bit of analysis paralysis for us. Like, usually we're very quick.
A little bit,
There were some times where we were a bit slower. You know, I'm like, dude, what's the best action?
Yeah.
Figuring out, because
I felt like I had that more when, like, I got a phone call, like, in the middle of the last.
Well, that's true. But so analysis paralysis can be a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lot easier to think about if you focus on your own niche. Like, the analysis paralysis gets bad when you're very concerned about what your opponents are doing.
Yeah, and I feel like when I play games like this, I don't necessarily worry about that too much, which is why I always lose at, like, Agricola. Because I never worry about what everyone else is doing.
Well, no, like, I think that's how you're supposed to play. That's how I play Agricola. When I play Agricola, I don't care what you or Philip are building on your farms.
Yeah.
I don't care. I care about what am I doing. What's my plan of action?
Mm-hmm.
I only care if I needed a brick and you took the stupid brick.
Yeah.
That's when I care.
Yeah, that's when I...
And so that's when I care. And so I would say that's kind of the thing. Like, with this game, you have to have a bit of a balance, because you do need to know, is there coal and iron in the market kind of thing? Which, I mean, it's easy to be aware of it.
That's easy to see, yeah.
So I'm really excited to teach them to play it. I think teaching the two of them to play it will be fast, because we both now are seasoned.
2 games. Seasoned.
2 games. Well, no, but like think about how much less stressful game 2 was over game 1.
Yeah, game 2 was a lot less stressful, but I still felt like I had no idea what I was doing.
I will say that was one thing for it was, throughout the whole thing, I never felt like I was accomplishing anything.
Yeah, and you said during, after we played, you're like, maybe we should score while the game is going. Like, as soon as you flip your building, you take your score. And I was like, no, like, you're not supposed to. The game is made where you score during the canal, at the end of the canal era, and then you score at the very end of the game.
Yeah, and I think having it like that, where like you score at the half, makes sense. And I think it actually has a really cool dynamic for it.
Yeah.
So I liked that a lot. But it is one of those ones where maybe I'm trying really hard to make business analogies here. Maybe where it's like, when you're doing the work, when you're trying to get your business off the ground, you don't know if you're being successful right away.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially back then where like you're literally like putting your stuff on a cart and sending it to market with people.
Also to go businessy, it's like your competitors. You don't know how they're doing until they present their financial statement.
Yeah.
And then you see, oh, okay, they got that. I've got this. I'm ahead 25 points. It's the same thing.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So
it's like biannual financial statement.
Yeah. So this game is a ton of fun. I honestly, like I said, I can't wait to teach Philip and Jacob.
Yeah.
Probably not one I would bring to like a family trip or something like that. But like if Jacob comes to visit and we go over to Phil's house kind of thing,
yeah,
I would want to do it like that.
Yeah.
In a more
I
controlled
feel
setting.
Like this is one of the ones like Agricola, like Caverna, where you don't want to take it when you only have like one day to play games, really. You want to take it when you have like a whole
extended period,
weekend or a whole week to play games.
Exactly.
Then you would take it that way you can play it one of the days.
Because I mean, just the two of us, we easily ate the hour.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we only played through the first era, and it took us 3 hours to play through. Yeah. Mostly because we didn't know what we were doing.
That's true.
But also, like, that's a long time.
That's a long time. And so I think once everybody has a firm grasp on the game, that's when the game is 60 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, because like the first time we play this with them, it's gonna be again like 3 or 4 hours.
It is to teach them, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're right, but I still can't wait to teach them because I by the end of it, I know it's because I won, but before I knew I won, I was still having a good time. Finally, I was like, I get it. I'm getting into a groove.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make like cool, savvy decisions.
I'm just sad, like at the very end, like I had 2 turns left, and I got a phone call, and I was like, okay, and I went, and we were making plans and stuff, and then I came back, and I was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing anymore.
but this game, it's a ton of fun. If you get a chance to pick it up, I would recommend it.
It's a lot, and the setup is a lot because
it will take a bit.
Your individual player boards have so many small pieces, so that takes a little bit.
I mean, it's on the same level as Caverna and Agricola as far as having a lot of little pieces.
Yeah, but I feel like the setup to start is more.
You're right.
Because with Agricola and Caverna, it's just piles of resources.
That's true. So
it's a little...
So setup's a little bit,
yeah.
But again, nothing that can't be overcome.
That's so.
Yeah. So that's going to be it for us for this week. So again, we played Cosmochoria.
Yes.
We played Bastion. And we played Brass Birmingham. So totally recommend. Go check them out.
Yes.
So we'll catch you guys next time. Toodles.
Bye.
If you're digging the Unearthing Games podcast, give us a positive rating on your podcast directory, or give us a thumbs up on the YouTube channel. Share the podcast with your DM, or your local game store owner, or your dog, or even check out our website, unearthinggames.com. If you have any suggestions for games you'd like to hear us talk about, or maybe even play, email us at unearthinggamespodcast@gmail.com. The Unearthing Games podcast is recorded in front of a live puppy audience. All borks, ruffs, jingles, and squeaks are completely original and not added in post.